So hi, everyone. Really excited to be here with you all. And today I'm going to be talking about the net climate impact of AI, balancing current costs with future potential climate benefits. I'm practice leader of climate and energy AI at MIT's Entrepreneurship Center and also a mid-career MIT Sloan Fellow Master's candidate. So as we all know, AI is contributing to climate change. There's lots of news in the headlines these days, but AI could potentially also reduce climate change. So which is true? Well, both. Both are true because AI is contributing to and could maybe reduce climate change. So the question remains, is it worth it? Is AI worth it? Just for some background, many of you may already know this, but to get everyone up to speed and on the same page, the last 9 years have been the hottest on record, and it's continuing to increase. And emissions are the #1 cause of climate change. Energy is by far the largest contributor to climate change. Some estimates put it at 62%. And why is this? It's because energy-related emissions come from fossil fuels. 79% of our energy system is non-renewables, like oil, coal, and gas, and only 21% is renewable energy forms like solar and wind. And we have runaway emissions. When I was at COP29, it was clear to me that although individual countries have done a great job of reducing their emissions, as a globe, unfortunately, we face a hockey stick of the worst kind. We have runaway emissions. So what technological innovation is needed? According to MIT researchers, we need to improve the technology to transition away from fossil fuels. We also need to increase the efficiency of the energy system, and we need to do things like capture carbon dioxide, reduce methane leaks, and mitigate pollution. Well, AI can actually help with all of these things. It can help us to decarbonize energy. It can help us to do material science discovery to find new innovations. But AI is also hurting our ability to do all of these things. It's using a ton of energy. And energy demand is increasing so fast that the grid cannot keep up. And AI, as we all know, is using a ton of energy. Did you know that a ChatGPT query consumes as much energy as 5 times that of a simple Google search? That is a lot. And in many cases, we can't control whether we're using it or not because it's embedded within search these days. While data centers currently account for varying estimates put it at 1 to 4%, but let's say 2%. Let's say they account for 2% of energy demand. Some estimates put them to grow to 4.6 to 9.1% by 2030, but some estimate them growing as high as 21% by 2030, and that is a huge amount. Well, what if AI could help with this? What if it could help to reduce climate change and to reduce its own emissions? Recent advances in AI, such as neural networks and large language models like OpenAI's ChatGPT, could potentially offer help in this area. Because AI is great for complicated situations. And what could be more complicated than the grid, said to be the largest and most complicated machine in the world? AI can help with energy systems. It can help to do things like better prediction of solar and wind generation. It can help with energy data management and predictive maintenance and fault detection. Just as an example, let's say 10 consumers drive home to their neighborhood with their EVs at the same time, and they all plug in their electric vehicles. This can create what's called a peak load for that area of the grid, where there's a spike in energy demand that the physical grid may not be able to handle. And so this necessitates adding more physical grid infrastructure to accommodate this increasing demand, which is both costly and time consuming and may not allow us to meet our climate goals as fast as we need to. But what if AI was installed at the site? So when the consumers plugged their cars in, AI intelligently managed when they got charged throughout the night, so everyone woke up with their cars charged. This could reduce the need for expanding physical grid infrastructure and those costs and timelines, and could help us move more quickly towards reducing emissions. This is a concept many of you may be familiar with called peak shaving or load shifting, where you shift the loads around. So that's a quite promising application of AI. But according to research from Google and BCG, AI only has the potential to mitigate 5 to 10% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And a recent report from IEA pegged it at 5%. So let's say 5 to 10% reduction potential. So some of you may be adding this up in your head. If data centers grow to 21% of energy and AI mitigates only 5 to 10% of emissions, AI will not reduce climate change. So as part of my work, I've been developing a series of equations to help us measure the climate impact of AI. And of course, this is a bit of a cost-benefit analysis that I think some people are talking about. Recent IEA report covered a bit about, but I think there's lots more room to talk about this because the news headlines are AI is ruining the environment, sucking up all our resources, but then we also have events and reports about AI for climate, and I think we need to focus on a balanced approach of what is it actually going to net out to be. So the net climate impact of AI can be looked at the AI climate harms minus the AI climate benefits at time t. Or if we want to look at it from an emissions perspective, we can look at the net emissions from AI as the emissions from AI minus the emissions avoided from AI. And in both of these equations, will it be positive or not? If the harms exceed the benefits, it'll have a net negative impact on climate. If the benefits exceed the harms, it will have a net positive impact, and same with for the emissions. But we also need to consider a couple other things. We need to consider the installed base of chips, because just because new, more efficient chips come out, like the amazing innovation of Google's recent Ironwood chips, which are like thousands of times more efficient, that doesn't mean all the inefficient chips are automatically going to be replaced. Similar to how the introduction of electric vehicles doesn't mean that all the gas cars immediately come off the road. So we need to consider that as well. We also need to consider the time value of carbon, because a ton emitted today is not the same as a ton emitted in the future. And right now, AI is having an undeniable environmental cost, but we haven't reached the full potential of that 5 to 10% emissions reduction potential. So we need to consider that as well. We also need to think about Jevons paradox, which says that efficiency gains can be outpaced by associated usage increases. And finally, we need to consider the positive aspects of load flexibility, being able to use things like AI and data centers to help shift loads around and reduce our emissions. So let's look for AI projects and pathways where the climate benefits exceed the climate harms. And we can also look at a climate AI framework to look for projects that are at the intersection of AI's capabilities, positive business value, and also positive climate impact. So let's work together to make the world a better place, because there is no planet B. And if you're interested in getting early access to my report on the net climate impact of AI, feel free to use this QR code to put in your info. And if you have any questions or want to chat further, if you're working in this space, I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much.